let's go downstairs and I'll show you what we're talking about. So you went to turn your furnace on and nothing happened, right? So I'm going to go through the very basic steps, a little bit of troubleshooting, and we'll actually get into starting a pilot light on a furnace. This is like a very common type of furnace. Mine's kind of older, nothing fancy about it, so it'll be common to many households. So stick around and hopefully this will help you out. Let's get going here. First of all, I went and of course I turned the heat up. I turned it down right now, but it was only 67 in the house and I wanted to bring it up to 70, so I adjusted this up to 70, and well, you get the idea. Nothing happened. Normally it takes a few minutes, your furnace has to heat up, so nothing happened, it didn't kick in, etc. So the next thing to check at this point, don't panic yet. Well, you don't have to panic at all, but anyways, don't panic yet. So go down here, because if it was the summertime and you had the air conditioning on, you might have had it set this switch over at cool. So of course the furnace is not going to start if it's on cool. Secondly, you might have it in the off position. The furnace will not start if it's in the off, so make sure you're in the heat position. On this one, it's all the way left. And another thing to do to test to see if there's power to the furnace, well, you can do this test, and then if nothing happens, then you want to go and make sure that the circuit breaker downstairs is on for your furnace. And you also want to make sure some furnaces have a little switch, just like a light switch that turns them on. I'll show you that. But anyways, you can manually test it, and one or two things are going to happen. We're going to move it from auto to fan on. So then either listen or go downstairs and the furnace fan motor should be running. So that's a very good sign that your furnace has powered. It's powered up. So if it does power up, after checking the circuit breaker, checking that there's a switch that might need to be in the on position downstairs. So this is a good sign. That means there's power to the furnace, but it still will not start up. So let's go downstairs and I'll show you what we're talking about. And if we do need to light the furnace, make sure you turn the fan back to auto. Take the thermostat at this point, since we're going to go do some looking around, put it well below the current temperature in the house. It's just a normal practice. Prevents it from turning on or anything on you while you're in your furnace or looking at the furnace. Okay, so let's go. Okay, my lighting is not the best down here, but this is what your circuit board looks like, or your breaker panel in the basement, or it could be upstairs, who knows. But anyways, you want to come here and look at the switches. If you see switches like this, that could mean there's a problem. That means the breaker has been flipped over. This happens to be my air conditioning. I have it off for the winter already. My furnace is actually located here. Now you just might have numbers, but look over here, there should be a guide, and it will tell you which breaker is for the furnace. Make sure that it's on. You might want to flip it off and back on again. And then go and do that test again. See if the furnace fan will start. Put it into the fan run position like what I just showed you. And if it runs, great. If it runs for a second then quits, come back down here. If that circuit breaker flipped off again, then you probably have some sort of an electrical problem, and probably for most of us, you might want to phone an electrician and have that looked at, or phone your furnace company. They'll come and determine what's going on. Because yeah, I don't want to get into electrical stuff on this video. It's not what it's about. This is just normally first checks to make sure everything's set up properly and how to get it going. If it's, you know, just a standard, sometimes the furnace won't light up and there's reasons. We'll get into it. I'll show you the next step here. So here we are downstairs. This is my old furnace here. Anyways, mine, I know because I'm familiar, it has a furnace on-off switch. So make sure that switch is on. If the breaker's on and this is off, well, your furnace won't start. So make sure that the switch is on for the furnace. Not all furnaces will have this, but mine does. So check, yours might have this too. Make sure that's on. Next step. Okay, here we are at the back of the furnace. One thing to check for, normally there'll be a turn, like a valve on the main pipe that goes into the furnace. When it's on, it's a parallel with the gas pipe, and if it's off, it would be turned 90 degrees. So I guess it would be perpendicular. So if that's on, that's good. Next step. Most of these furnaces, all you do is there's a panel back here, and you just lift up. Take this down, set it aside. Keep it handy though, because there are instructions on there also about how to light your furnace. So we'll go through that, but I'll show you that in a second. First thing you want to look at, maybe your furnace has been turned off. Maybe someone serviced it in the summer and they turned it off. So if it's in the off position, then it's obvious why it did not start up, you know, or provide any heat. So if that's the case, I'll show you how to remedy that. But first I'm going to have to show you how to actually properly light the furnace. Now this could even happen if it's in the on position. Your pilot light might have gone out, so that means you have to manually get it restarted. I'll show you how to do that. Next step. Okay, so basically we determined that the pilot light is not on this furnace, so we have to relight it. First thing you want to do is you want to turn the power off to the furnace. On these old furnaces, there's no requirement that there's any electricity there. You just need to come and turn it off. Either that's your breaker, your thermostat might have a turn off, or in this case a switch. And so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to try to restart this furnace. There's a igniter sensor, or like, it's kind of like an electrode or something like that. I'll show you where that is, but first thing, get prepared. I would use like a barbecue lighter. You're going to need that. It's just really easy to do with one of these. And so the first thing you need to do, go up to the switch here, whether it was in the off or in the run. You need to turn this to the pilot position. That's so that you can start the furnace, so it's in pilot. Now here, like on these old furnaces, there's no troubleshooting lights, nothing to tell you what's going on. But anyways, to find what you need to do, there's a small little tube that comes out here. Follow that down. Oops. Okay, so follow that down. And it goes down under here. And this is going to be really hard to see, but it just goes back right here. And then just it goes a little bit further beyond that. Just use your hand if you want and just feel where it is. You won't get electrocuted. Your furnace is off, right? You turn the power off, okay? So what we need to do, there's a little electrode at the end. It's behind. So I'm gonna have to come up under here. I don't know, I'm gonna have to move this down really low for you to see this. Okay, so let's go down low. Oh, way down. So basically, I'm gonna have to go up back here and underneath. That's where that electrode is. And what you need to do, you need to heat that electrode up. And the reason you heat that up, because then it thinks that the electrode basically controls the gas. If there's no heat on it, it turns the gas off to your furnace. So if the pilot light goes out, it's turned the gas off, so you have to go through the startup sequence. So if you go back up here, just so you know, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the flame ready on my barbecue lighter. And what you have to do is press down this red button and hold it down, and then put the put your barbecue lighter flame under that electrode, because there's a little gas thing there, so the gas will flow and it will light that flame. Once the flame starts, you can remove your lighter. You know, you don't have to keep that on there anymore, but you do have to keep this button pressed down. It might take up to a minute. It has to heat up that electrode thing. Okay, so hang on, I'm going to show you down here. Well, maybe I can fit the whole thing in. Move this back. Alright, so got my little flame going here. Now I'm up here, I'm going to press down the red button. Put this back here. When you're actually here looking, you'll be able to see. Alright, didn't light. try it again. My lighter went out on me. Okay, well, my barbecue lighter ran out of fluid, so you can do this by hand. Same thing, it's on the pilot, ready to go. Press down the red button. You should actually hear the gas. Just stick your hand back there. And there, it actually lit, okay? So there we go, and just hold this down now. I'm not sure if you can see the flame in there. So there's the pilot. So the gas flows in on this tube here. And just get the flame underneath that area, back under there. It'll light up. And we just have to keep this, keep the red button pressed down. You're gonna have to keep that pressed down for a minute. It has to heat up that sensor. Otherwise it's gonna think that there's no flame. Let's just wait. And hopefully, unless there's something else wrong, that pilot light flame should stay lit. If it doesn't stay lit, then there's other issues. Alright, it won't stay lit, so we have more issues than what I bargained for. Alright, let's see what I can do here. Okay, so it didn't light, so what you can do, if you have a little piece of sandpaper, you can reach back in here, and you can feel that temperature sensor. Just roughen it up with the sandpaper. Get this cleaned up a bit. And basically at this point, if this does not resolve the problem, I'm gonna have to get a new temperature sensor, which they're not very expensive, but for some reason they don't seem to last very long these days. Alright, I ran out to the store and this is what we're looking for. It's called a thermocouple. Or I guess you can call them a heat sensor too. I don't know if there's a difference. Basically, I've had to replace these almost every year in my furnace. Like, I don't know what they make these things out of, but I don't know. But anyways, I went to the Home Depot first. I did not get these from Home Depot. Went to Home Depot. I've purchased them there like all the time. So I couldn't find them, and so I ran into the guy in that area and I said, hey, where are these thermocouples for like a furnace? Oh, we don't sell those, he says. I said, well, I bought one here last year. He goes, well, I don't think so. I said, well, yeah, I did. He goes, well, I've been working here for 2 years and I've never seen them here. And I said, well, I've been coming here for 30 years and I've seen them here every year. So that ended that conversation. I mean, I was nice about it. I didn't talk like a jerk or anything. So anyways, at that point, I just said, okay, well, whatever, forget it. So I ran over to Lowe's, and Lowe's has them, so. Anyways, there you have it. I bought an 18, you only need one. I bought an 18-inch length one and a 24. I'm pretty sure I only need the 18, but a 24 will work also. But I'm going to try the 18, and really easy. Just get yourself a pair of half-decent pliers. That's all you need, and we'll hook this up in a few minutes. Okay, well, I'll head down there and get at her. Okay, so here we are. I just have a pair of pliers. Remember, you're not touching this bigger tube. That's the gas line. Don't touch that one. It's a little tiny, sort of copper-looking one. So just come up here, turn it counterclockwise, and it should loosen up fairly easy. And yeah, okay. So it just, they shouldn't be on there super tight, but that's all it took to take that end out. Then move down here, take the pliers, again counterclockwise, and that's all it should take. Okay, yeah. And it should just pull straight out. There you go. So that's all there is to it. Let me go get the new one and we'll install it. There's a little sleeve here. You can keep the old sleeve in there if it came with one. And away we go. Let me go get the new one. Okay, so here's the new one. Again, they give you some little parts in here. I don't know, you might need them, you may not. Like I said, there's a little sleeve there. It's already in place. I don't need to take that out and use the new one. That's this piece here. It slides in there. It's kind of like a universal thing. But let's get this out of here. So we won't need anything else. First, I'm just going to make sure. Now, be careful when you take this apart not to kink it up and damage it. Hopefully this one's going to be long enough. This is that short 18-inch. So I'm just going to see if this is going to work out. Yeah, I think I can make it work. It'll work. I would suggest buying that 24-inch one though. I'll use that next time if this one works. So basically we're just going to start at the top here. Just get it started by hand. Let's do some jiggling and... Okay, it feels like it's seated down there now. Get the pliers on here. Might have to hold this in place and just start tightening. It won't take much because if you finger tighten it, it seats, and then you just need to probably give it a quarter turn once it gets a little bit tight. And it's not taking much. Yeah, it's already on there. I'm a little bit sniffly here, sorry about that. Okay, now the bottom, hopefully you can see again. I'm just putting it back into that hole there. And it looks like it's gonna work out fine. And we'll get that started. Always get things started by hand. Okay, and let's screw it in nice. As far as I can do it by hand, and now we're just going to give it a little tighten up. You don't have to get crazy with stuff. There, it's snugged up. And as before, I can do this all in one shot here. You can see up here. So again, the red button, but first, turn it to pilot. Have your lighter ready. Press the red button down and get under there right away. There, and the flame just started. You may or may not be able to see that. I don't know, because it's really tough to do this by... I can't see my screen on the camera. But the flame is running. And again, I'm holding down the red button. And we just need to let this heat up for a minute. And in theory, once it gets heated up, that sensor is going to tell the gas valve up here that, oh hey, everything's heated up and it looks good, so I'm going to keep that gas on and keep that pilot flame going. Okay, I almost think it's probably good. I can already actually see the that little sensor thing. It looks like it's starting to glow. So I'm gonna take my finger off the red button, and yes, it is still running. So we are basically set to go. Almost, not quite. What you have to do now, so the pilot's running fine. Hopefully you can see it in there. There we go. So then just come on up here. And you have to turn this now to the run position, which is over here. It's marked, just look at it. So make sure that's, yeah, it's good. All right, so we're all set. Just one last thing, hang on. Okay, so I know it's good to go, so I'm going to put the back panel on, back onto the furnace. And it just basically slides into place and down. There we go, that's good. Next step. Okay, we're back up stairs here at the thermostat. Make sure it's on heat now. If it was in the off, turn it to heat. Make sure your fan's on auto if you have that setting. And right now the temperature in the house is actually down to 65. So let's put it up here. I'm gonna go up to 70. I can actually hear it, hear the furnace kick in. As far as like the main burner's running now. The fan hasn't turned on yet. That's gonna take a minute or two. And then just go downstairs and wait. Verify that it's running and there's hot air blowing out. You're good to go. I'm back down at the furnace again, and I'm just verifying that it is running. And as you noticed, I did buy 2 of those thermocouples, and I did that purposely because I now have a spare, which I will leave up by my switch there. If I run into this issue again, then I don't have to run around all over town. It's just ready to go if I need to replace it. I would suggest you do the same. Again, take care, have a great day, like, subscribe, come back for more, click the bell for notifications.